Thought Life. A new day is dawning. No longer do we have to settle for less. When we demand more of ourselves and think with an elevated purpose, we'll embrace the positives, reject the negatives, so we can live a much more purpose-driven, meaningful life. Thought Life. Now's the time, let's elevate our minds. Make wise decisions that are right. 'Cause responsible thinking will lead us from darkness and into the light. Haunting thoughts of doubt and pain and despair it weighed me down. But resilience stirred up and then my strength to came around. With every new step we're taking, fear just fades away. The path to redemption takes me to a higher place. Now's the time, let's elevate our minds. Make wise decisions that are right. 'Cause responsible thinking will lead us from darkness and into the light. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Thought Life. I want to welcome you. I want to thank Rainier Avenue Radio for giving me this opportunity to share with you some life-changing information that maybe you might not have even addressed or even took a look at. And so I want to welcome everybody to this program. I can say for sure that I hope that you hear something that'll spark your interest and challenge yourself to be a better thinker, more active in your self-awareness and your perseverance to be the best version of yourself. My name is Fishookz Caldwell, and if you have any questions or interest involved with the programming, you can email me at thoughtlife206@gmail.com, and I'll definitely answer any questions that you might have, steer you in the right direction to get started on your journey to be a better thinker. Today, I want to tell you the main focus for today is, you see what I'm wearing here is Seahawks, right? Seattle, we're in this spot, right? Super Bowl. We need to be in the Super Bowl of thinking. What does that mean? That we don't settle for less. When we start demanding more of ourselves and start taking full accountability for where we're at, how we live, how we think. When we think better, we feel better. And what I mean by that is that so many of us have had lifelong experiences that have weighed heavy on us. I don't know about you, but from my childhood to adulthood, I've collected a bunch of painful memories, and they've affected my thinking. And every time, I don't really count the good things that happen. I just focus on the negatives. And what that does for me is that it puts me in a place of a real dark space in my mind. Like I start developing limitations in my thinking, like I'll never be good enough, or life has dealt me a bad hand, or a host of other roadblocks, mental roadblocks that we turn into our own mind, and we adopt these ways of thinking that don't serve us well. They don't bring about joy. They just bring about pessimism and negativity. I don't know about you, but I lived too long to not enjoy life. And I have to understand what it's going to take for me to enjoy life. What drives me? Our thinking. That is the engine that drives you. If we understand that, then we need to tune our thinking to be more effective in certain areas of our life so that we can enjoy life to the fullest. One of the things that I had to come to terms with is that somebody told me that life is supposed to be fair. You know what I mean? And every time I turn around, I see where life ain't fair, right? Life doesn't favor me. You know what I mean? Life on life's terms is not predictable. You cannot predict what's going to happen at any given time, situation, people, all these things. We can't adopt unrealistic expectations of what life is supposed to look like for you. Without any work on your part, we think that life is just supposed to be this great bowl of cherries and we're supposed to enjoy life. BS. It's a bunch of crap. It's not how it works. I've been living this life for a long time, and I've come to find out that if you don't adopt a new way of thinking that is positive, optimistic, you're going to be a pessimist. You're going to look and see what's wrong with life. And when you keep looking and seeing what's wrong with life, what happens is, for me, I'm just talking about my experiences, is that you get weighed down with negativity. Negativity brings about negative feelings. Negative feelings brings about depression. So if I understand this one certain formula, that negative breeds negative, I'll never get a good feeling out of thinking negative. It's just impossible for that to happen. If I'm focusing on the negatives of life and the things that aren't going my way, I'm not grateful for anything, you know what I mean? And that's just like we're in this bear trap of negative self-talk, self-doubt, a whole list of failures in life that have happened, bad breaks, all that, man. You know what I mean? Those episodes have a way of just weighing us down, and we're just like, why do I try? You know, we are not what we've been through. We're human beings. It's how we bounce back from adversities that make us the people that we are today. And if we allow every negative episode from our childhood till the day we're living now, you know what I mean? We're not going to have a good outlook on life. We're not going to, feel this inspired way of living. That's why thought life is so important. So you can be responsible for the thoughts that are going on in your head. I don't know if you know this or not, but you have a choice of what's good for you to think and what's not good for you to think based on your history. All you have to do is look back at your history. When I thought a certain type of way, I felt a certain type of way. Thought life is taking full control of your life. Accept what needs to be accepted about your childhood and renew your mind. Renewing my mind means that I'm starting from a new place. Yesterday's failures and yesterday's pain does not come into play in this new place of life. I don't allow it to. That's where thought life starts, right there, identifying that some of the things that happened in my past have really warped my way of looking at life, and it's really hard to enjoy life. Why? Because it's a bad habit. Bad thinking habits bring about bad feelings. Bad feelings brings about depression. And you're not enjoying life, you're more in survival mode. And once you get in survival mode and tell yourself this is all life has to offer, it's really hard to get out of that comfort zone of mediocrity. Newsflash, brand new life is waiting for you to allow life to start over, for you to forgive yourself and everybody from the past, to start life over. Renewing your mind means nothing that happened in my past matters. It's not a roadblock to where I'm trying to be in life or who I am. I don't identify myself as a wounded child, a victim. And once I realized that just by signing up to be a human being, there's going to be things that aren't going to go my way. That's okay. Once you recognize that just because things don't go your way, you have to go to the dark side and start getting pessimistic about every little, start nitpicking and start looking at what's wrong with life. The big problem that I always had before this program is I kept looking at what was wrong, and I found something wrong every time I looked there. If you look for what's wrong, you're going to find it. What's wrong with that? It's because you're looking in the wrong place for joy. You cannot find joy when you're looking in negative places at what's wrong with this life, what's wrong with my life. We're comparing yourself to other people. It's just a depressive state of mind waiting to happen. And every time you make the mistake of entertaining negative thoughts, be prepared to feel negative and to feel like you don't fit. And another aspect of life is that when you hang around unproductive, pessimistic people, right? And those are your friends, those are who you hang around. That's just how they talk, you know? They always got some bad news, and they're really glad to share that with you, you know, about what's wrong with life and how life doesn't measure up and how, you know, they're trying the best they can. You know, BS. You're only gonna think as good as the people that you hang around. And sometimes you have to leave that group of people that you're loyal to find a new way of thinking. I have to seek out other people who challenge me to think in a better way. Otherwise, I'm not gonna make an effort. Renewing your mind you need to recognize that, hey, there's gotta be, I don't know if you thought this way, but I've thought this way for a long time. Like, is this all that life has to offer? You know, there's got to be something better than what's going on with this life that I got. Never looking at your thinking, you're looking at financial and all these other outside things to fulfill what you need to fulfill for yourself. That was the biggest problem that I had in life, is that I kept looking for the perfect girlfriend, you know, the perfect job, the perfect amount of money, and then nothing was ever lining up, right, to my specifications. And I left myself really disgruntled and unimpressed with life. So once you recognize that it's something on the inside of you that makes you uncomfortable, that makes you feel no joy, that makes you feel locked out of a great life. It's not anything anybody's done to you. It's nothing that you've been through. A huge part of the mistakes that we make is hanging on to the pains of the past, never allowing those childhood scars to heal, or even knowing how to go about that. I had to go back to my past. When life starts over, I had to go back to the past, forgive everybody for everything they've ever done to me, you know, and I had to forgive myself from everything that I might have done that wasn't right, and start over. And when life starts over, you set it with a new standard of living, a standard of thinking. This is how I'm going to think today. You start developing morning rituals, so when you wake up, you're not waking up pessimistic. You're waking up optimistic and looking forward for the day. And you intentionally tell yourself, today's going to be a great day. No matter what happens in my life today, I'm not going to go on the dark side and think negatively about anything. I'm going to reject the negative, embrace all the things that are positive. And so what that means for me is that we have to take on new responsibilities for life, new self-awareness, new ways of thinking that are outside your comfort zone, demanding more of yourself. As demanding as life is, you know what I'm saying? You know, you might tell yourself, man, life is already demanding, and I got to demand some stuff for myself. You're damn right you do. Because if you don't, what happened for me was that I get inundated with all the demands that are happening in life, and I feel like I'm just overwhelmed with life. I never take time to recenter my thinking on something better. You know what I mean? For me, I've developed a spiritual life. Spiritual life means loving myself unconditionally. So I don't force feed myself a bunch of negative information every single day of my life and wonder why I'm feeling miserable. I'm feeling less than. We are all born to be great people. And a lot of times the episodes that happen in our life leave deep scars that we don't even allow to heal. How do we heal from it? Come to terms with it. Set it to the side, because it really doesn't matter. The past doesn't matter. what we need to understand is that today needs me way more than yesterday. And me carrying into today, yesterday's pains and disappointments is only a big setup for me not to enjoy life. So thought life is a more self-account. We raise you in on that positive aspect of your life that you haven't been digesting into your thinking life. And once you start permeating your mind with positivity, inspirational thinking, positive affirmations, talking to yourself and loving yourself, unjudgmental of yourself. You start equalizing the playing field. You start controlling what you can control. The big problem is that we take on what the world has to offer, and it's really offering you a big hodgepodge of a bunch of attitudes and perspectives and what people think. I'm telling you what I know. I'm not up here on this podcast trying to force feed you some misinformation. This is what I know from my own experience and my own research in my own life. What makes me a miserable person is what I think about. It's not anything that anybody does to me. It's what I do to myself. How do I do myself a great disservice? Is that I rely on people in the world to fulfill me and make me feel, validated without any self-validation for myself. I keep looking for, sweet fruit like in a lemon tree. You're not going to find it there. You know what I mean? Self-love is like, I get to love myself. How do I love myself? I make time to wake up a little bit early in the morning. I listen to inspirational messages. I want that inspirational message that I have a whole bunch of videos and inspirational messages that set me in the right tone or right state of mind to go into the day armed with some facts about myself. And I'm ready to attack the world. I'm ready to take on the world. Whatever's coming, come on, bring it. Bring it. Looking forward to challenges. Instead of ducking and dodging challenges, and calling everything a problem, you know what I'm saying? When I started putting a different wordage on things, they take on different meanings. How we look at life can either lock us out of a better life or actually open the door. Thought life is to challenge the way that you're looking at life. And maybe the way that you're looking at life needs a makeover. Maybe you need a new prescription. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the way that you're looking at life creates pain in your life. This unrealized dreams and all these unrealized, expectations that you might have had for yourself and everybody involved in you. What I've discovered is the biggest problem that most people have is that they're waiting for something great to happen. I'm just going to keep on working. Something great's going to break through for me. You know what I mean? I'm scratching lottery tickets. Something's going to happen for me. A big payoff's coming. Newsflash, not going to happen. You're not going to wait around for something great to happen. That's thought life. Thought life is getting involved, getting engaged, and being an actual working part of the evolution of who you are, a growing up, I might say, like a maturing of the mind. You know what I mean? When I realize that when I'm living beneath my means, as far as my thought life is concerned, is that without zero accountability or self-awareness, right, I can't see the problem. Most of the time, what happens is somebody brings it to my attention. You know what I mean? That I'm kind of like a Danny Downer. You know what I mean? The way I talk, how I come off. Nobody wants to be around you. It's the energy you're putting off. You're not putting off any positive energy, right? And most people don't want to be around a refrigerator. They'd rather be around a warm oven. You know what I'm saying? Something that radiates some heat, some warmth. You know what I'm saying? Not only from the outside, but from the inside out is how we grow in our thinking life. And that's important for us to identify that if I don't have a better life, it's not because of anything that anybody else has done to me. It's something I haven't done for myself. And so once I recognize that I'm the author of everything that happens, good and bad, in my life, and I start adopting new ways of thinking, and I stop being a pessimist about life, I make room for good things to happen. Why? The main reason is because I drew the line in the sand. I'm not accepting what life has to offer anymore. I'm starting to bring something to the table myself. I come with intention. What is my intention? My main intention is to be the best version of myself, enjoy life as it is, not as I wish it would be. And so many people in life, they just continuously, engage in unrealistic expectations of people, life, what it's supposed to look like, how life is supposed to show up for you. Newsflash. Don't wait around for great things to happen. It all starts internally. That's been my experience. And my experience is a lifelong learned experience. What have you learned from your past? How have your thoughts not served you well? Can you just look at that? Sometimes we need to have a starting point to where change can happen. It can be just as simple as this, is that, when I'm just have idle time to think, I'm going to a negative place about what I don't have financially, what I don't have relationship-wise, things aren't measuring up, right? I can go all these outside things that aren't measuring up, and I'm not looking at within. I never look within. That is a huge problem. I need to look at what's wrong with me, what needs to be adjusted in me, my thinking, and how I look at life. Because without any adjustments, I can look at life like a child, a deprived child, all my life, right? When we're born, we suck on the nipple, right? It's right there. You know what I mean? Somebody's always feeding us, changing our diaper. You know what I'm saying? So if I want some more nipple, all I do is start crying, right? Wah, you know what I mean? And then mom comes, puts the nipple. Here comes the nipple. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pacified, right? So at a very young age, I learned how to manipulate people, you know what I'm saying, to do what I want them to do without doing anything on my own. And what I had to bring up that illustration because I saw that in me. I saw that in me. But I didn't see it unless I took a real good look at myself and how I have expectations of other people to serve me and comfort me and make me feel good about myself. That's a big misgiving, on my part. So I had to change it. And until I change it, I'm still going to run into the same roadblocks to peace, joy, and contentment in life. So what I want to bring up to you is that every single day is a brand new opportunity. So many people didn't wake up this morning. You know what I'm saying? With a new opportunity. If you're alive, you owe it to yourself to just check it out what I'm talking about. You can email me at thoughtlife206@gmail.com. Start some dialogue. Let's talk about it. Let's open some dialogue so that you can actually look at yourself and you can talk with me, because I'm not the utmost, but I've done 6 years of research on myself and human thinking. I don't need a PhD to know when I'm the problem. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to have a PhD. I just need to have learned experience through my own failures, through my own emotional, roadblocks that I create for myself, and recognize that there's a better way to think. So I just want to let everybody know, like, there's a new way to think, a better way to live, and a better way to enjoy life. And I have a morning ritual that I can send you if you hit me up on that email, thoughtlife206@gmail.com. We can start some dialogue. I even also do some one-on-one talks with you so I can actually get you started. You know, we can work out something. You just call me, get in touch with me, email me first. Just make the first move. What do you have to lose? You have everything to gain. Nothing to lose and everything to gain. Make some investments in yourself so that you can enjoy life to the fullest and find out how you can be the best version of yourself intentionally, one day at a time. And so I just wanted to let everybody know, no matter what's going on in your life, you matter, you're important. And that's why I have this program. It's so that I can show some love to you by doing this podcast. I'm trying to open up new channels of your thinking so that you can break down the old limitations and start living life to the fullest. Start loving yourself at a different level. Start learning how to be your own best cheerleader on a daily basis. Because that's our job. Is nobody's going to call you up every day and say, hey, you're a great guy. You know what? You're a great guy. You're going to have a great day today, right? And I promise you, everything's going to be all right. No, it doesn't happen. We wake up with untreated trauma and all this other stuff, right? That is totally unhealthy to the person that we want to be. So the biggest thing that we can do for ourselves is make time in the morning to recenter your mind, to love yourself. Say, I have everything it takes to get to where I need to be. I have all the tools I need. Now I just need to put them into practice. And once you start practicing being a better person, start loving yourself unconditionally, you'll see that there's a brand new you that is waiting for you to emerge. Ready for the life, ready for challenges. Life isn't about problems, right? Life doesn't have problems. I don't call things problems anymore. I stopped calling everything a problem that doesn't go my way. Today, I'm having challenges that condition me to be a stronger, more well-adapted person. So, no further ado, Seahawks are going to bring that trophy home to all of us. I hope you all are going to tune in. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Thought Life. If nobody told you, you deserve this opportunity for yourself. God bless you, and I hope you tune in again one day. Peace out. Thought Life.